In this video, I'm going to show you the basics of using the Flex component for flexible layout in Elements. So you can find the Flex component over in the Components tab under Layout. But let's take a look at this project I have here. Now I've got a simple container at the top and it's got 3 items in it, some text and a button. And if we want to space these out, the Flex is a perfect object to use for this. So let's go ahead and drag one into the site. Now I've placed this inside my container, as you can see, and we just want to place our objects inside the Flex. Now once inside the Flex, we can go to the Flexbox settings, and here we can specify a gap. By default, the Flex is set to column, which will stack things on top of each other, and we'll come to that in a moment. But let's set a gap. So I want a bit more spacing between these items, so we can set the vertical spacing. So let's select 5, and you can see these items jump apart. Now they all move equally, so you can see that they're all moving equally apart. But if we wanted to keep 2 of these things together, we could simply drop another Flex into the Flex to group things. So I can take this Flex here, drop it in there, take my heading, and I'll take the subheading and drop it in there. Now this is really nice because it keeps things grouped together, and should I add anything else to the Flex, let's just duplicate this button, it keeps the spacing for us on those separate objects. So the things we wanted together, we've put them inside a Flex, and other things we still want to keep that gap we've set it outside this little subflex. So this is a really flexible way of working, as the name implies, and keeps things really consistent and easy. So let's take a look at another example. So I've got a container here again, and inside this container I've got a Flex, and let's take a look at some of these options. Now this is set, the direction is set to column, and let's create a couple more of these images so we can see how this affects our Flex. Now if I duplicate these, you can see they're being duplicated down the page. So this is because we have the direction set as column, and column is down. So we want these to be in a row, which is across. So what we do, we change the direction, and we can say row. Boom, and now they're in a row. And you can see the gap here on the horizontal gap is set to 5. And if we just change back to column, you can see there's no gap in between these because we don't have a vertical gap. So I could change this, boom. Let's switch this back to row. And now I'm going to duplicate some more of these images, and instead of these going on to the next row, they will just scale in line with the site, with our container here. So this is in a Flex, so this is really nice to use to quickly lay out things. So we can delete these, and boom, we're back. Now let's duplicate this one more. Now let's make this image a little bit smaller. So let's say this is 150 px. Now you'll see it's aligned to the top here, and this is not perhaps what we want, because I want this to be in the middle. Now we can change the alignment of these by changing the alignment of the items, and at the moment they're set to normal, and that kind of defaults to the start, but I want them to be in the center. So I'm going to switch that to center. And you can see now this appears in the center. So if we had another one, let's change this to a different size. And let's duplicate this and change that. So you can see they're all aligned to the center. Now we could say end, and they would all sit on the baseline there, which is really nice. So this is a really super flexible way of working. And we can justify the content by moving things around. We can tell it to appear at the end or the start, or we can try and center things in the middle or put space between, so it will try and evenly space things out to fill the whole area, or around, which will put space around each item. So these are really nice things to play around with. This is spacing them out evenly. So these are, the Flexbox is really flexible, as the name implies. So let's switch that back to the center there, boom. So this is really nice And actually, let's just set that in the center. So, really nice working that way. Let's take a look at another example just so you get more of an idea of how to work with this. So again, we've got a container and I've got a flex in here and I've got a little SVG and some text. Now the flex is set to row because if it was column then they would be stacked and we don't want that. I want row because I want these to appear next to each other. And we want this text to be in the center here. So we need to center our items. Boom. That's looking good. And perhaps I want to have some subtext here. So let's make this smaller and we'll change the color. Let's make that lighter. But I obviously want these to appear on top of each other. So like we did in the first example, I'm going to add another flex in here. And I'm going to drop the text into my flex. Boom. And we just need to change the order because this is our original flex. And then we've got our text and our SVG, but I want our SVG to be over here. So I'm just going to change the order there. Boom. And let's just update this to make it a bit heavier. Okay, so this is looking nice. Let's give this an icon. Looking pretty good. Now this is a little bit close to here, I think. So let's highlight our flex again. And we want to use the gap controls. And this is on the horizontal. So let's set to 5. Maybe a bit much. Set to 3. We'll go 2.5. So now we've created a little bit of space there. So this is really nice because it keeps things, if I change the size of this, it keeps things centered and I don't have to fiddle around with padding and things like that. It's a really nice way of working. There we are. A little bit bigger. Perfect. So this is looking very, very nice. Now, the flex is really flexible, as I say. So let's just do one more layout to give you an idea. I've got a container here and a grid. The grid is set to 3 items. And I want to create a card, kind of like a white background with, I want an image and some text underneath it and curved borders. So that's what I'm going to create here. And I'm just going to use a flex. So let's drop a flex in. And I'm going to borrow this text and drop that into my flex. And I'm going to also borrow an image and drop that into here as well. So now we've got these 2 items in our flex, but it's not looking too good yet. So let's make a few changes. On the background, I'm going to set this to white. And we're going to put a little bit of padding on here, just to give our content a bit of room to breathe. So on the sides I'm going to give it 5 and this brings things in, and on the top and bottom I'm going to give that 5 as well. I'm also going to set the border, let's do 3XL so it's nice, chunky and rounded. So hopefully you can see there, if I change the background of this container we'll be able to see this a little bit better. Boom. So you can see I've got nice chunky borders. And what I would like to do is add a drop shadow to this. Let's do that there. And I could do an XL shadow. So now we've got a nice drop shadow on there. But our content is not centered. It's kind of left aligned. And if you remember with the Flexbox, we can set the alignment of our items. So again, let's go and set them center. So that's looking pretty good. So the flex, you can use it for a lot of things. Let's just duplicate this. You can see there. And let me go to my resources and let's drop in different avatars. So you can see this is really quick to build up these cards. So this is really nice and it's very, very simple. All we've got is a grid, a 3-column grid. You know, I can change this. A 3-column grid and then a flex, which is the whole card here with just 2 objects in it. Really simple to design. So once you work more with the flex, you'll learn it's one of the best objects to use in Elements and it's really great for doing this stuff and it's really powerful. So I hope that's given you a bit of an introduction to the flex. There's a lot more you can do with it and a lot more advanced features on the flex, but this should give you a good starting point to get familiar with it. Thanks for watching this video, and if you have any more questions, please check the manual or ask a question on the forum. Thanks for watching this one, and I will see you in the next.